What if I told you that the concept of hell as a place of eternal torment is a modern misinterpretation, far removed from its original biblical meaning? In this video, we'll uncover the true meanings of Gehenna, Hades, and Tartarus based on their original contexts and languages, and how these terms have been misunderstood in modern times. We will explore the historical and cultural backgrounds of these terms, their appearances in the Bible, and their original meanings in ancient Jewish and early Christian thought. Let's begin with Gehenna. Gehenna is derived from the Hebrew term Ge Ben Hinnom, meaning the Valley of Hinnom. This valley was located outside ancient Jerusalem and was infamous in ancient Jewish history. Historically, the Valley of Hinnom was associated with child sacrifices to the god Molech, as mentioned in 2 Kings 23:10 and Jeremiah 7:31-32. Over time, it became a symbol of divine judgment and purification in Jewish thought, as explained by Levinson in The Death and Resurrection of the Beloved Son. In the Old Testament, Gehenna is referenced in several passages, including Joshua 15, 8:18-16, 2 Kings 23:10, and Jeremiah 7:31, 32, 19, 2, 6. These references describe the valley and its infamous history. In the New Testament, Gehenna appears in teachings attributed to Jesus, such as in Matthew 5:22, 29, 30, Mark 9:43, 47, Luke 12:5, and James 3:6. These references often symbolize a place of fiery punishment, but not necessarily eternal damnation. In ancient Jewish thought, Gehenna was not a place of eternal torment, but rather a place of judgment and purification. It was a metaphor for severe consequences rather than an everlasting inferno. Early Christians inherited this concept, viewing Gehenna as a symbol of divine retribution. The term was used to emphasize the seriousness of moral failings and the importance of repentance, as noted by Wright in the New Testament and the people of God. Over centuries, especially with the rise of Christian nationalism and literal interpretations, Gehenna has been misinterpreted as a literal place of eternal damnation. This shift has influenced modern Christian doctrines and popular culture, deviating from the original metaphorical and corrective connotations. Next, let's explore the term Hades. Hades is derived from the Greek word Hades and refers to the abode of the dead. In the New Testament, the term Hades appears in verses such as Matthew 11:23, 16:18, Luke 16:23, Acts 2:27, 31, and Revelation 1:18, 20:13, 14. Here, Hades retains the idea of a temporary abode for the dead, distinct from the final judgment. Over time, the interpretation of Hades has shifted, particularly influenced by Greek mythology and later Christian theology. Hades has often been conflated with the modern concept of hell, a place of eternal punishment. This shift in understanding has led to significant misinterpretations in contemporary Christian thought. Now let's explore Sheol. Sheol is the Hebrew term shavol, referring to the grave or the abode of the dead, and it appears frequently in ancient Jewish texts. In ancient Jewish thought, Sheol was a shadowy place where all the dead went, regardless of their moral choices in life. It was neither a place of reward nor punishment, but simply the realm of the dead. This concept is thoroughly examined by Johnston in Shades of Sheol, Death and Afterlife in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, Sheol is referenced in passages like Genesis 37, 35, Job 14:13, Psalm 16:10, 49, 15, and Isaiah 14:9. These references depict Sheol as a place of stillness and darkness, where both the righteous and the wicked reside after death. In ancient Jewish thought, Sheol was a neutral place where all souls went after death. It was not a place of eternal torment, but a resting place until the resurrection. Early Christians adopted this concept, viewing Hades as a temporary holding place for the dead until the final resurrection and judgment, as discussed by Borkham in Gospel Women, studies of the named women in the Gospels. Finally, let's examine Tartarus. Tartarus is a term borrowed from Greek mythology, where it referred to the deepest abyss, a dungeon of torment and suffering for the wicked. Although there is no direct Hebrew equivalent, Tartarus aligns with concepts of the deepest abyss or pit in ancient texts. In Greek mythology, Tartarus was a place where the Titans were imprisoned after their defeat by the Olympian gods. It was considered the lowest region of the underworld, a place of intense suffering and punishment. This concept is adapted in early Christian texts to describe the abode of fallen angels awaiting judgment, as elaborated by Ferguson in Backgrounds of Early Christianity. Tartarus is mentioned explicitly in the New Testament, specifically in 2 Peter 2:4, where it states, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into Tartarus and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment." This reference highlights Tartarus as a holding place for the rebellious angels. In early Christian thought, Tartarus was not seen as a place for human souls, but rather a specific location for the punishment of fallen angels. This understanding aligns with its mythological roots as a place of severe and ultimate punishment. Kelly, in Satan, a biography, explores how early Christians incorporated this term into their theological framework. Over time, Tartarus has often been confused with other concepts of hell, such as Gehenna and Hades. This conflation has contributed to the broader misinterpretation of biblical teachings on the afterlife and punishment. By distinguishing Tartarus from these other terms, we can better understand its unique role in early Christian eschatology. As we have explored, the terms Gehenna, Hades, Sheol, and Tartarus each have unique historical, cultural, and theological contexts that differ significantly from modern interpretations of hell. In ancient Jewish and early Christian thought, these terms did not originally signify a place of eternal torment for all the wicked. Instead, they represented specific concepts of judgment, purification, and temporary holding places for the dead or fallen angels. The ancient idea of hell was much more nuanced and varied. Gehenna, for instance, was a physical location, the Valley of Hinnom, associated with judgment and purification, not eternal damnation. Hades, or Sheol, was a neutral abode for all the dead, and Tartarus was a mythological abyss for the punishment of rebellious angels. Over centuries, the concept of hell evolved dramatically. One of the most influential works in shaping the modern idea of hell was John Milton's Paradise Lost, published in 1667. Milton's vivid and imaginative depiction of hell as a place of eternal suffering and fire significantly influenced Christian theology and popular culture. Let's look at a timeline of theological thought on hell. Early Christianity. Early Christians viewed Gehenna, Hades, and Tartarus in their original contexts, focusing on judgment and purification rather than eternal punishment. Source: Wright, the New Testament, and the People of God. Medieval period. Theologians like Augustine of Hippo began to develop the idea of eternal punishment for the wicked, merging Greek philosophical ideas with Christian doctrine. Source: Augustine, City of God. Renaissance and Reformation. The Renaissance brought a renewed interest in classical texts, and the Reformation sparked debates on the nature of hell and salvation. John Calvin and Martin Luther both contributed to the development of the doctrine of eternal damnation. Source: Calvin, Institutes of the Christian Religion. 17th century. John Milton's Paradise Lost popularized the vivid imagery of hell that persists today. Source: Milton, Paradise Lost. 18th and 19th centuries. Enlightenment thinkers and theologians like Jonathan Edwards emphasized hellfire and brimstone in their sermons, further entrenching the idea of hell as a place of eternal torment. Source: Edwards, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. Modern era. Contemporary theology continues to debate the nature of hell, with some scholars advocating for a return to the original, more nuanced interpretations. Source: Borkham, Gospel Women. The narrative of hell changed for several reasons, including the influence of Greek philosophy, political power struggles within the church, and the desire to use fear as a tool for control and moral behavior. The vivid depictions of hell in literature and art also played a significant role in shaping the modern imagination. Understanding these terms from their original ancient meanings is crucial for several reasons. First, it provides a more accurate and nuanced view of biblical texts. Second, it helps us avoid the pitfalls of modern misinterpretations that can lead to fear-based theology and exclusionary practices. Finally, it allows us to appreciate the historical and cultural richness of these concepts, fostering a deeper and more informed faith. By examining the terms Gehenna, Hades, and Tartarus in their original contexts, we can see how far modern interpretations have strayed from their roots. This exploration highlights the importance of critical and informed approaches to biblical texts, encouraging us to seek deeper understanding and question simplified or fear-based interpretations. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of Gehenna, Hades, and Tartarus. We hope this video has provided you with valuable insights and a deeper appreciation for the complexities of biblical teachings. If you found this content enlightening, please share, and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of theological themes.